Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, summer's been beautiful. Exian has been beautiful. I know some people kind of get upset sometimes when, things go down just a little bit, but you guys have to understand, you know, we are in the building phase. We are in the recovery phase. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, if this is your first altcoin season, you are going to be super surprised with how things pump when we're at the peak of altcoin season, right? Those 4, 6 to 8 weeks are insane. That doesn't mean your coin specifically is going to pump, for 8 weeks in a row, right? Usually it's roughly 4 weeks. But ladies and gentlemen, I am telling you, it is the types of gains you can never imagine like actually happen. Like we all wish for, a 5x, a 3x, a 10x, and then that just kind of gets smashed within a couple of weeks or even much higher, right? Or even much higher. And of course, it depends where you buy and stuff, but I promise you, those few weeks are going to be the craziest weeks of your lives. And of course, we will be, of course, uploading then, doing XCN updates. And of course, I'll also keep you guys grounded because I know this is something that a lot of people are going to struggle with when the time comes, right? You're going to see XCN at amazing prices. We're talking about, 5 cents, 10 cents, 15 cents, and etc., right? And there will be a time where you might think, well, we're at 10 cents, we're at 15 cents, and then people are going to tell you, hey, 50 cents is on the table. Hey, $8 is on the table. What if we hit $10, right? I know it's kind of crazy, but you have to understand, people call for $1,000 XRP. People call for $100 XRP. People call for $10,000 XRP. Yeah, sure, some of it's bait, some of it is just, for engagements, but there's still a chunk of people that believe that is true. They don't understand the tokenomics, they don't understand the fundamentals, they don't understand the market works, they don't understand technical analysis, okay? And some of these numbers that you'll be hearing are going to be extremely unrealistic or mathematically impossible. But, obviously that is for the future. Anyways, right? I just want to say that. I just want to say that. Look, right? Let's dive into this, ladies and gentlemen. We are in a amazing area right now. And the reason why I say that, ladies and gentlemen, is because ultimately we are looking for a breakout. Okay. We are, right? We are. Now, here's the thing. Last time we had a kind of similar situation. It was kind of similar, but not really because the context was different, right? We had, this type of triangle being formed right over here. And of course, we had this right here. And look, right? Some people expected for it to go up. We expected it to go down. And that's exactly what happened, right? We were selling off consistently for a couple of weeks. The sell off wasn't that crazy. I guess you could argue the first week was pretty big. But after that, right, the first week was 20%. And if you take the whole total, it was 35%. So, first weekly candle was a big sell, and the next three were fairly small, combining just another 15% in total, right? But look, the context here is different, okay? And I truly do believe it is different, not only because the whole market is bullish, but because we already, had a decent correction, okay? When we go and look at something like this, right, we can see, ladies and gentlemen, we are forming something very, very similar. When we go and take this from here to, let's just say here, right, we could even use this point over here, but, this doesn't have to be literally 100% accurate. If it's 99, it's good enough. Boom, right? Something like this. So here is the deal, right? We do and are considering a potential fake out, right? A fake out to the downside. But if it is going to be a fake out to the downside, it is going to be very, very short lived, right? The reason why I said there could be a potential fake out to the downside is because Bitcoin is being very, very annoying with the gap at around $114,000, right? There is a gap somewhere over here. Now you might be, well, where is it? I don't see it. Well, if we go to this, which is very important, we look at Bitcoin futures, we can see, ladies and gentlemen, around 114,500. There is a gap, which means at one point, Bitcoin is going to drop a couple percent. Okay. And, even from this point over here, it's only like, let's just say upwards of 4% if it goes a little bit lower, which means probably altcoins will drop 10 to 15% depending on the altcoin. So if we go to something like Exian, right, we look at it right now, 10 to 15% is not that crazy, right? It really isn't. It would drop the price roughly to, even if we go lower, like let's say 1.3 cents, that's 20%, right? But ultimately, the bigger picture is still going up, right? Even if we do get this fake out, it is just going to be take out some of this liquidity, right? I don't really think we're going to go lower here. And then I expect it to bounce up. Now, some people argue, well, we are technically in a way below certain structure, right? When you go on the weekly, people could argue, well, this whole general area is lower than this whole general area, so we should go down and to create something similar like this, right? Um, like this, right? Boom, the structure here, we have the structure here, and eventually we come back down and create structure here. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that, just because I do expect Exian to start pumping, right? We are in a very decisive area. And the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, I do personally believe we are going to create this reverse head and shoulders, right? This reverse head and shoulders for me is the main picture that I expect. Okay. Boom, right? Shoulder, big head, shoulder. Okay. So I am still very, very bullish. Like I said, if there's going to be a short term fake out, it does not bother me because overall, I know we're going to start recovering. We're going to go start going sideways, and eventually, we're going to start seeing something like this. Because the thing is, right, we have very, very limited time. Exian must decide. We are literally getting sandwiched from both sides, right? When we take the trend line, let's say like this, boom, like this. There we go. And then like this, boom, there we go. Right? We don't have much time, and that is the reality. Okay. And the thing is, something like Bitcoin dominance, you know, we are kind of in a tricky spot. It does not look the most convincing. Now, we have obviously a big sell off recently, but we are at a very massive zone. And we can see we have this bottom, we have this top, we do have this higher bottom, but at the moment, we still haven't had any confirmation because we are technically creating a lower high as of right now. So we are also getting squished here. Now, if we start breaking to the upside, that means, Bitcoin dominance is going to go up. Bitcoin is getting more strength. If we start going to the downside, that means altcoins generally will see more strength. So I'm just really being patient. I'm being patient. For me, at the end of the day, does it really matter? 10% this way, 20% this way, that way? No, no, it doesn't really matter. But I'm still confident in Exian at the end of the day. All right. We can see, ladies and gentlemen, if we go back for a second, the monthly candle is not the strongest yet. It is not the strong. There's still 2 days left. And I do believe if Exian does just simply go up even a little bit, right? Even a little bit past, honestly, even a double top on the monthly would be good enough. Okay, so that would cause us to have to go up roughly 12%. So, you know, it's not the hardest task in the world, but I would like to see Exian go up 12%. Right now, this is more of a stalemate. When going to 3 month, right, the 3 month is looking okay. Nothing crazy, nothing terrible, right? The 3 month just started July, August, and of course, we're going to have September, right? I don't really expect the craziest of pumps to happen necessarily in this 3 month candle. For me, this is more of a recovery. This is more of the building up stage. Because the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, right, we still have a few zones to go. When we go like this, right, we still have this main zone over here. Boom, right? We have this main zone over here. Once we kind of start going above that, then of course, the next real relevant zone is going to be around the highs. And then after that, that's when the real expansions are going to happen. Now, some people might not like this type of structure, but I do because, ladies and gentlemen, we still have so much price action to match on all of this left side eventually. So I am super, super excited, right? I am super, super excited. You know what? Even just zooming out right now, like I said, we are consistently creating, boom, higher and higher and higher lows. And I just want to see that happening. I want to see the continuation. I want us to make another attempt. I want us to continue to go up higher here. And yeah, but that is ultimately it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy. Like I said, Exian still has to decide. Either way, whether it goes down or not, I'm still very optimistic on the coin itself, on the project itself. And you guys have been killing it, right? You guys have been killing with the support, which means eventually these types of videos will also be blowing up more. And you never know who might see this. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.